Hey guys, it's Deneen, and I am here working with one of the papers from the Aed Savor Story Kit. This particular paper is 3 3/4 by 8 1/4, and I am going to use the physical paper, but I do want to do some work with this digital version because I am going to be adding some text and then some photos that are going to be the same size as these rectangle shapes. So in order to do that, I'm going to start by zooming in and always going over here and right clicking on this and do duplicate layer and hit OK. So now I have my background preserved. I will hide that and I'm going to work on my background copy. The first thing I want to do is get rid of the words savoring so they're not in my way. I will use the spot healing tool to do that. And I'm just going to go right over the word savoring and it will disappear. So that's going to be for all three of these rectangles. Okay, and you can take a look down here to see what the settings are for my spot healing brush. And you may have to modify for your own use, but you just kind of experiment, right? You just give it a shot and see what happens. And you can always undo if you don't like the way things turned out. Okay, so now we're going to go back here and I'm going to use the quick selection tool. So I'm going to click on that. And then inside of this first box, I'm just going to drag it and it's going to eventually fill the entire rectangle. And with that, I'm going to go layer, new, layer via cut. So now I have put that, and if I hide the background copy, you'll see I have put that peachy, maybe off-white colored rectangle onto its own layer. Okay, so I still want to be working with the background copy, so I'll make sure that is selected. I'm going to do the same thing now for this second rectangle, and you'll see the same thing happens, the marching ants are around the outside. I'm going to go layer, new, layer via cut, and you'll see over here we now have both of those rectangles on their own layer. I will choose background copy again. I will go back over here to the last rectangle and I will do the same thing by selecting that. And then layer, new, layer via cut. So all of those rectangles are now in their own layers. And if I were to hide them, you will see that these are empty. These are empty. And when I do get to my desk, you'll see that I'm going to use a craft knife to cut out those rectangles. But in the meantime, what my plan is I want photos to show through these three rectangles. So I already have my photos open. So let's go ahead and take a look at what photos I'm using here. The first photo is of a little snowman. The second photo is a winter scene. And then the third photo is of myself. So I want to have them inside of these spaces. So the way to do that is to go ahead, I'm going to hide the background copy, and then I'm going to start with layer 1 at the top. So this is the rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and didn't mean to do that. Let's choose that again. I'm going to drag my snowman into this canvas. And as you can see, he's a little large. So we're going to have to do some moving and some resizing, but I will place that over layer 1. And I'm just going to go ahead and resize. Just try to get that so it is within the bounds of that rectangle. So this is, again, your decision on how you want to do this, what photos you have, what parts of the photos you want to show through. But you'll use your judgment, and then once you get your photo resized to a decent size, in the Mac system, it is Option. You're going to put your cursor between these two layers. You're going to hold down Option, and you're going to click. And that is going to mask this snowman inside of that rectangle. And then I'll be able to go ahead and just do some additional moving around as needed to get the snowman exactly within that rectangle as I like. So now you can see the snowman photo is in the shape of that rectangle. That's exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that. I'm going to hide layer 1 and I'm going to reveal layer 2. So layer 2 is going to be another photo, and that one is of a winter scene. So I will drag that into my canvas, and I could just go ahead and, let's see, hold down Option and do the masking right now. And you see the bounding box for the photo is still there, and you're going to be able to just kind of move that, you know, how much of that photo do you want showing. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that, get a little bit of the path in there, some of the trees on the side. And then once I'm happy, I will commit my changes. And now you have that photo in the exact shape of that rectangle. So once again, I will hide the photo and that rectangle, and then I'm going to go ahead and reveal the last rectangle. And that one is a photo of myself. So I'll pull that in, pull that down, and again, you could resize now, you could resize later. It really doesn't matter. And again, any changes that you make that you're not happy with, you can go ahead and fix. So I'm just going to put that over the top of that layer 3, hold down Option, and again, I believe it's Command or Control. I think it's Control in an HP. I haven't used an HP for this in a while, so sometimes my memory starts to fade. But hold down Option or Control, click between them, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more resizing with my photo here, making sure I'm filling that entire rectangle and committing. And then I think I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm just going to move it down so that there's more of my face, less of my hat, kind of like pulling that evenly in there. Alrighty, so there you have it. You have let's reveal all of them. Let's reveal all of them. And you have 3 photos that are perfectly sized inside of those boxes. And if I were to reveal the background copy, there you go. That is exactly what I want it to look like. So that is perfect for my needs at this point in time. Alrighty, so the next part of my plan includes using a large photo. Now I am doing this for my 10 by 8 album. So I have taken this photo, I have cropped it to fit inside of my album, 11 by 8 1/4. And I am going to use this as the base for my entire page. You do not need to do this in this particular size. You can do this with any sized photo. If you want to, and you wanted to do it in a 7 by 8 1/4, you can crop this photo to 7 by 8 1/4. You could have, the page that I'm going to add, cover part of this photo if you'd like, and I'll show you that in just a second if that's something that you're interested in. But now that I have my photo, and again, this is, I purposely, cropped this photo in a way that there was going to be some white space over here for my purposes. Not necessarily what you would want to do, but I'll give you a little bit more insight into that. So let's go back over here, and I want all of these layers to be in that photo. So I'm going to choose or click on the topmost layer. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to click the last layer. These are all of the layers that I want to duplicate into that photo. And then I'm going to go Layer, Duplicate Layers, and I'm going to choose that photo, which I know is this image right here. And I'm going to go OK. So now you'll see that they have landed exactly where I want them to land in my photo. Okay, and let's get that there like that. Sorry. And this is how I'm going to do it. This page here is going to be a page that is on top of this photo that is going to flip open. And when you flip it open, you're going to see that this part is going to open up. And there's going to be 3 photos underneath. And they are going to be, for me, I am going to print them directly onto this photo. I could always go ahead and back to this page here, I could hide this background. I could print these out and then cut them out with my paper cutter, and I could adhere them onto the photo. But in this case, that's a little bit more work, and I don't think I need to do that because I'm happy with the fact that they are going to be in the perfect spot right where I need them to be on this photo. And then when I flip open this page, it's going to reveal those 3 photos underneath. And these are exactly where I want them to be, but perhaps you only want to have a photo that is 7 by 8 1/4. All of these items here can easily be moved, and you can very easily go ahead and crop this photo or whatever photo you're using into 7 by 8 1/4. All right, so let's hide these for now because I'm not going to be using them at the moment. And I will just go ahead, I will duplicate this layer. I always do that for safeguarding. And then background copy, I will go ahead and choose the crop tool with my 7 by 8 1/4 chosen. And then I will go ahead and crop that photo down to 7 by 8 1/4. Committing the changes. And now we can reveal all of these items. Let's see, is it working? I can't tell. There we go. Okay, and show all of them, show the background, and then you can have this, and we're going to select them all again. So I can move them all at one time with the move tool. You can move this over here. So you have this on top of just a smaller photo, okay? Perhaps you have a photo where you have a lot of white space over here and maybe just a person standing here or, you know, a part of a scenery or something. And then this here will flip open and you will have these photos on the white space of the photo. So that's just, you know, again, just giving you some options if you're not interested in working with the 10 by 8 size. Okay, so without doing that, because that's not a part of my plan, I'm just going to go ahead and undo all of that. And what I'm going to do now is I want these photos to print. Oh, I don't want them over there. Let's reveal everything. Let's reveal everything so I can see it and I can move it together. And let's see, they're all selected, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and move these back over here exactly where I want them to be. Oop. I want to get that right up into the edge so that it fits nicely. It doesn't look like that one moved. Ah, there we go. Okay, and then what I'll do for my printing purposes is I'm going to just hide this. And I'm going to go ahead and print this whole thing out with these pictures right on the larger picture. Okay, so that's how that is going to work. Now I want to go back one more thing before I am done is the other thing that I'm going to do with this particular paper is I'm going to add my journaling. And I'm doing this because I want the journaling to fit very nicely inside of these boxes. So let's go ahead and I'm going to hide the photos. Let's hide the photos. I don't need those photos, but I do need these boxes because I'm going to go ahead and make a text box inside of each one of these. So let me go ahead and zoom in and just show you. Let's just say that I took my text box and I created it inside of this rectangle. Okay, so the text box is ready to go. And then all I would need to do is type my journaling into the text box. And again, you can type whatever you want. This is just for sizing purposes. All right, so let's just go ahead here. I'll show you what I did ahead of time. Let's see if I can get my Microsoft Word up. There we go. I typed my journaling ahead of time in my Word just because I wanted to do my Photoshop Elements, and I'm not sure if Photoshop has it, but Photoshop Elements does not have a spell checking tool, or at least mine does not. So oftentimes I will type things in Word just to make sure that I have the spelling right. And then I'll go ahead and copy and paste them. So let's choose this first one. This is what I want in the first box. Go back over here to Photoshop Elements and again, draw that box. Okay, And then inside of the box, I'm going to do a Command V, and I'm going to put all of the text into that box. And then I will commit that. I need this layer to be up here, so I'm going to drag it up there. And there you go. So now I can kind of move this around inside of the box exactly how I want it. And then I can go ahead back to my Microsoft Word. I can choose the next set of text and copy. I can go here. I can do another text box on top of the second rectangle, Command V. I'm lucky, it fits nice. I think I chose a good font and a good size for this. So I'll go ahead and put that in there. And then I'll go back over to Microsoft Word again. I will choose my last set of text here, and I'm going to copy that and then create one last text box to fill with that last journaling Command V. And there it is. Okay, so I may want to do some moving around here with these words. I may not be happy with the word play here and the word play here being on their own line. I'm going to have to take a little bit of a look at it to see, but I can always go ahead and click on it. I can go ahead and change the tracking and make the letters tighter together. I could change the size of the font. I could change the leading on the font. There's a lot of different things you can do to format this the way that you like it. All right, but that's my plan at this point. And then when I am ready, at whatever point in time I am ready, my goal here is to print these on vellum. Okay, so I have inkjet vellum that I use. And before I go ahead and print them, I am going to hide these boxes because all I want to print are the words. And then I will just go ahead and hit File and hit Print. And then all you'll see is the words. And I will go ahead and print this out on a sheet of vellum. Okay, so that is the process on the computer. I'm going to go ahead to my desk after I print all this stuff, and then you'll see how I'm going to put all of it together. See you in a bit. Alrighty, so I'm back at my desk, and I am working with this, again, physical paper from the Savor Scrapbook Kit by Aed Edwards, and I'm going to do some cutting on that page. Here are my journaling spots on my vellum, perfectly aligned to go underneath those rectangles. So that worked out really, really well. And then here is my photo. And you'll see here that this is one full page photo, and then these are printed right on the same photo. Just, saving photo paper, just putting them right in that exact spot where I want them to be. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to do some cutting with my craft knife and a ruler, and I am going to go ahead and cut out the inside parts of these rectangles with my craft knife so that you can see right through them. And I'm going to line up my ruler along here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do that on all sides in order to make those, I guess, hollow, so to speak, right? They're going to be hollow. Okay, so here we go, and this is how it's going to lay on top of that large photo with those 3 photos underneath, and on between those 2 is going to be the journaling. So what I need to do now is I need to adhere this piece that I just got done cutting on top of the vellum. So I'm going to use vellum adhesive. I'm going to line everything up and then just put a little bit on the bottom. Make sure everything's okay, and then I will pull the vellum back and I will put the rest of the adhesive on the other pieces. You're going to see here that I go ahead and I push it down, and then I realize that I needed to put some vellum on those pieces, those 2 lines in between there. So you'll see me pull that back up. Thank goodness it's forgiving, right? And then I'll add a little vellum to those inside pieces to keep everything nice and flat. Once I'm done, I will go ahead and I will get out my trimmer and I will trim off the excess vellum from all four sides of that piece of paper so that the vellum is the same exact size as the paper. And that turned out pretty nice. So that's how it's going to look. And then there's a little bit of cutting that needs to be done on my photo because I printed it on 8.5 inch, 8.5 inch paper, and I only need 8.25. So after lining everything up, I will just trim the top and the bottom off of that photo. You'll see here I struggle a little bit. I don't know why. My brain was not working correctly and I couldn't figure out how to do it the right way. But I finally just kind of give up and chop a little edge off the top and everything worked out for the best. So that was pretty good. Once I'm done, I'll line those guys up and I will punch holes in the both of them together so that they line up nicely in my album. Okay, so once that is done with, you'll see that this is how it's going to open. And I am going to add just a few other small things here. You'll see that I am going to pull out my chipboard pieces and kind of figure out, do I want to add any chipboard? There are these awesome plastic pieces with the kit, and I take each one of those and I place them on top of my heart-shaped snowball. I end up choosing Love This because it actually fits like really, really well inside of that snowball. So that's going to go on there. And then I'm thinking about a chipboard piece to go along with it. And the one that I finally decide on is one that is kind of an orange color. And it kind of made me feel like it was bringing them together because the color around each of those boxes is like the same orange color. So now it's just to decide whether or not I want to put it on top of the Love This or underneath the Love This. I'm going to use some of my really super skinny score tape to add Love This to the snowball. So you'll see me go ahead and do that. I'm not going to add score tape to the entire back of this piece. I'm just going to choose some of the straight line letters and I'm just going to put it randomly on top randomly on the back side of the Love This because I think that'll be enough to hold it on. And then I finally decide that I'm going to put the chipboard piece underneath and I'll use another piece of score tape to go ahead and do that. So I'm happy with how that side turned out. Now over here, I think I'm still kind of contemplating what I want to do. Putting a piece of chipboard on top, putting a piece on the bottom, kind of going back and forth. And then I went ahead and I pulled out the Savor Story stamp. And I decide I am going to stamp on top of the 3 rectangles with a phrase from that stamp kit. And it's a longer phrase, so I have to be careful that I get it nice and straight because these longer ones usually have a tendency to kind of not be straight for me. So do a little testing there. The phrase says, all the little things that make life mine right now. So that's the phrase I'm using. So I'll stamp that at the bottom, at the top. And then at the bottom, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to put the date. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I also grab myself a tiny chipboard heart and I place a chipboard heart above the date. Yeah, I think that's what I end up doing. I also end up doing some additional changes. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this all turned out. So this is the how it's going to look lying in my album. And you'll see I did choose a little blue heart. That was the only change there. And for those of you interested in reading my journaling, sometimes people like to do that. There's a close-up of the top 2 boxes of my journaling. And then this next photo here is going to show you the bottom box as well as the second box in case you're interested in reading that. And as I always make changes after I'm done with a process video, you're going to see the most major changes here on the back side of that 3 3/4 by 8 1/4 page. I took the Savor Story stamp and I just went across there diagonally with the word Savor. I was doing it on the vellum, so obviously I had to use my stays on ink. And then I just took, to cover that vellum up where the words are, I just took some Post-it notes and I just kind of cut them to about the size of those rectangles, covered over the part that I didn't want to stamp on, and I just went ahead and stamped over the Post-it notes so that it wouldn't cover the vellum. And then right above each picture, I added a little stamp that says, yes, please, with a tiny little heart next to each one of those stamps. So those were the changes that I made after the fact. Again, that's par for the course with me. Thank you once again, as always, for joining me on this little journey. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments below or stop by just to say hi. I love to connect with you guys as much as I can. Otherwise, hopefully I will see you guys very soon in another video.